Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today to learn about the ins and outs of inventory management. If this is your first time joining Jamf for a webinar, welcome. If you've been on one of our webinars before, welcome back. My name is Kat, and I'm part of the Jamf team. I'll be hosting today's session. Before we get started, let's look at today's agenda. First, I'm going to provide a quick 2-minute intro on Jamf for those who are new and we haven't had the pleasure of working with you just yet. Then we're going to talk about data and inventory and provide an overview there. We're then going to show you how to automate inventory reporting and chat about some of the ways you can enhance your inventory management with some of our features such as extension attributes. And then we are going to have some time at the end for Q&A. So without further ado, a little about us. Jamf was founded 19 years ago with one goal, to empower people through technology. And we do that today by helping organizations be successful with Apple. We are here to help elevate and enhance the Apple experience in the workplace for both employees and IT. We focus exclusively on supporting Apple hardware, and by Jamf focusing solely on Apple, this allows our customers to have best-in-class support, more MDM features that speak directly to the Apple platform, and ultimately this has given us a 96% customer retention rate, and we have been labeled the #1 Apple MDM. And as you can see, we help a lot of people. More than 50,000 organizations rely on us each day to help manage over 20 million and counting Apple devices globally. Being the world leader in Apple management, we're supporting all the way from small businesses to the world's largest banks, tech companies, schools, enterprise, and government organizations. We have workflows to support organizations truly of any size, regardless of their Apple footprint. So whether you have 5 devices or 5,000, we have ways to help your Apple devices in your current infrastructure and as it grows and changes. And this is our overall product portfolio. We have Jamf now supporting our small, medium business markets. Jamf School is our management solution for education, and of course, Jamf Pro, our solution, which is the top-rated solution for Apple management. Alongside it now are Jamf Protect for endpoint security and Jamf Connect for identity management and security. And then at the bottom, we have Jamf Nation, which is our online community for Apple admins. It's free to join and a great mind share. And I will point out that, especially after today's session, I won't spill anything, but you can always go there to ask other people how they're leveraging reporting at Jamf and how it's helping them. Again, it's a great community and a great mind share. One of the other things I want to highlight with Jamf, one of the major benefits our customers find in working with us is our history and commitment to something we call same-day support. For 9 years running, Jamf has delivered same-day support for new Apple operating systems. So anytime Apple has a new operating system released, we are ready same day to support it. So for Mac OS, iPad OS, iOS, and tvOS, the day they are released, all of our solutions at Jamf support them that same day. And you can essentially kick off a mass operating system upgrade across your entire fleet. We not only have same day support readily available for our customers, but I like to think we actually take it a step further and we offer betas as well. So you can start testing before it's even officially released to make sure that all is good there and you have what you need at your fingertips. In summary, here's what same day support looks like with Jamf. You don't need to worry about the MDM connection breaking with us or having to do extra manual work like building packages to make your same day system compatible. We take a lot of that for you. I like to think if an employee perhaps upgrades on accident as well, it's a non-issue when you're working with us. Or perhaps you're saying, hey, we want to pause the availability. We're not quite ready on that same day. That's no problem. You can delay the operating system as well for up to 90 days. So you and your team have time to test and validate before making it available to the entire company. Essentially, you can update on your schedule and you don't have to worry about us. So I like to call this a sleep at night feature. You just don't have to worry when it comes to us and we have that proven track record. All right, so now that you've received an overview of who we are, I want to start talking with you about the ins and outs of inventory management. So let's chat a bit about that. And when we think of inventory management, It really sets to these goals. It's almost like a housekeeping item in supporting technology that everyone needs to do, but how do we make it easier? How do we automate it? How can it be so you can have reports readily available when you're being audited or being asked for information at a moment's notice? You can stay informed on devices, getting out of compliance, be proactive so you don't have small issues turning into big ones. It's more than just keeping a list of serial numbers. And by the way, if you are keeping a list of serial numbers and perhaps you're manually tracking and typing in and updating a spreadsheet, we are going to change your world. Some of the things that you might be thinking about and evaluating in an inventory process, you might be thinking and asking yourself, how many devices do we actually have? Are they all in use or are they hanging out in a closet somewhere? Are all of my devices up to date? Who perhaps has too old of an operating system running that could pose security gaps? What apps are on these devices and who has them? Are we overspending perhaps? Did we buy software for accounting and give it to people beyond just the accounting team? Perhaps is my fleet secure? Are we abiding by all the CIS benchmarks or are there gaps perhaps? And then how do I streamline some of these processes? This is possibly where you're at and what you're thinking of. And really, before we start really going into the inventory piece, I want to chat briefly about user enrollment. And the reason being, inventory at Jamf starts with enrollment. So when the device is first enrolled, we recommend automated MDM enrollment via Apple Business Manager to best achieve this so you have access to the inventory prior to the device being in use. But of course, we have other options as well. You can use a user-initiated enrollment, and that's an enrollment link. Perhaps you could use that for a quick add package as well for the Mac, or if you're in Office and can do a network scan, that could be a possibility too. Inventory management and reporting truly starts with enrollment here at Jamf. So I want to show you an enrollment quick. This is a user-initiated enrollment, and this can be done for both company-bought devices or personally owned, and each have their own sets of boundaries. So Cynthia got an email with a link from IT, and she's going to sign in. We have an integration here going on with Microsoft for her IDP. So that's something that she's typing in her password, she's authenticating, and then she's going to specify, is this device owned by the company or is this something you bought on your own? And it'll let her know what IT can and can't do. And we think that transparency is super important when it comes to user privacy. And if it is institutionally owned, there are a few extra tools in the toolbox for IT because at the end of the day, the company owns that device. So they've got a few more tools available to them. And then essentially she's just following the prompts and going through enrollment and agreeing and essentially enrolling her personal iPhone to get that enrollment profile. The device has now been enrolled. And once we have devices like we just saw enrolled, it starts talking to Jamf Pro. And Jamf starts automatically collecting this device for us to eventually organize. Let's start with the type of data that is collected. Cynthia just enrolled her phone. What kind of data is being collected? Well, it's looking at hardware data, software, security data, perhaps customized specifications, perhaps third-party applications. These are just a few examples of the data being collected for mobile device management and inventory management functionality. So we focus on the device and we continue to support and drive Apple's mission of privacy. We're looking at the hardware details of this device. It's not looking at anything personal, right? It's looking at the age of the device. It's automatically getting the serial number for us. Perhaps we can see what apps are on the device, but not what is in the app. So we can perhaps see someone has Angry Birds installed, but we have no idea what level they're on. Or perhaps they have Instagram installed, but we don't know what pictures they posted or who they're talking to. It's really looking at those types of things as good examples. So the device gets enrolled, Jamf starts to collect the data. Now let's talk about what gets collected and what gets inventoried automatically for IT admins. What we see here, this is the Jamf Pro interface. We see here a list of some of the recent searches we have, all computers managed, what's unmanaged, compliance, who has Gatekeeper disabled, who has Jamf Protect installed. We're just kind of scrolling here. And maybe I don't know what's in here, so I'm using an asterisk to do a search for everything. I might have sent out quite a few enrollment links for people and I want to see what's coming through. So we're seeing I've got 87 computers when I did that little asterisk search. I'm going to pick on this one for MacBook Air. And again, it's automatically pulling and organizing this data for me. So we see the last inventory update was on the 11th. It is a Mac, it is managed, it's not supervised, it's an Apple computer, it's got the model, it's got the identifier on there. You can see what kind of RAM is on there. Maybe we see what we're doing. We can also see if the disk is getting full. Maybe that's where I start saying, hey, you've got too many pictures on here. So essentially, what I wanted to show you here is what data is getting pulled, that hardware data. Here's a summary of what we just saw and some examples of what is collected in Jamf. And you can always export this data, but this is what is automatically getting pulled once that device is enrolled. And note, again, it's not pulling any personal information. So it's not looking at iMessages or anything like that, just the device information about it. We want to make sure, though, that IT really has what they need. It's starting to pull this information for us. Let's see what happens now that that data has been inventoried. How do we start organizing this data? How do we start building reports? And there are two core ways to organize data within Jamf Pro, and those are static and smart groups. So let's start with static groups. And they are a way to report, and essentially they're a set of devices that are defined. Think of it as a location, an office team like HR or accounting. You can essentially apply a policy to that entire group, saving time and effort with deploying to those groups themselves. So these don't change. They stay the same. That's the best way to think about it. So if someone's in this group, it stays the same. Now, next are smart groups. And with Jamf Pro, we actually have a patent for this type of reporting. This really sets us apart from everyone else. People ask me all the time, what's something that makes Jamf unique? And I mentioned earlier our same-day support, but really our smart groups. This is something that again is unique to us, and it's a great way to organize devices with really one or more inventory attribute, and it's a dynamic membership, meaning it updates after each check-in. How something is on Monday could be different on Friday, and it will give you several options to report on. So static stays the same, smart groups are ever changing. And the thing with smart groups is super helpful for IT and of huge value, because if something changes with a device, you want to know and you can be proactive. Example could be a device was enrolled on Monday, perfectly fine on Tuesday, and jailbroken on Wednesday. And you can have a smart group saying, show me any jailbroken devices, and have reports for those data changes. And once that device went from regular device to jailbroken, it's going to move into that smart group and change. Here's kind of a visual of what I'm saying. So in a nutshell, static groups, you apply a profile or policy to the group. Smart group is basically, it's hunting for you with the parameters you set. I can look for devices perhaps not yet on Big Sur, or devices that are over 3 years old and we are planning to replace with an M1, or show me all the M1 computers. A group membership is going to trigger policies for automated management actions to be collected for reporting, or to send alerts when devices join or leave a group. That's super helpful for being proactive and resolving issues like battery health or disk utilization, as I mentioned earlier. Show me all the computers where the hard drive is 80% full. I want to know that before it becomes a problem and someone says to me, hey, I can't save anything, my hard drive's full. I can get a smart group giving me an automatic report. So I'm saying the word automatic a lot. Let's talk about how to automate some of this inventory. Since we've learned about the different reporting types, let's start automating some of our reports. And for this section, we're going to focus on smart groups, and we'll build with customizations, and we'll talk about some of our extension attributes and other integrations as we move along. We talked about smart groups of what they are, but here's really some of the highlights. So some of the things you can instantly report on, or that you can customize, and you can mix and match any and all of this really. Possibilities are pretty endless in a lot of ways. So I can say I want to see all the Macs in the London office that do not have the password perhaps that we set, or they're not compliant, or perhaps show me devices globally. So in all offices that have restricted software. Then this is, again, completely flexible. This is unique to us. Possibilities are truly endless. My pal Tim, who also works here, Tim Knox, he was an admin and he had a smart group called the Naughty List. And essentially it would change. So if you jailbroke your device wasn't backed up, maybe you are trying to install software that shouldn't be on there, whatever it may be, perhaps you were ignoring, his requests, he would then schedule time with that person to say, hey, your device is not compliant. It is missing software. We are out of date with things, so we got to fix this. So he had a smart group literally called the Naughty List and had parameters. So there's some of your inspiration for the day. So let's scroll through and see some examples of Mac and iOS smart groups that are, again, customizable. And by the way, we can help build some of these for your organization if you opt in for perhaps any of our onboarding or professional services. But it could be as simple as who needs their device encrypted, right? Who needs Flash Player updated? Who's got Google Chrome? Who needs Google Chrome? When was the last check-in? Maybe the device hasn't checked in more than a month. Did this device go missing and someone didn't say anything? Who has activation lock enabled, and is that going to be something that's going to be a troubling ticket for me down the road? So those are some of the Mac ones. So if we look at some of the iOS ones, activation lock status, again, iOS is perhaps out of date, last enrolled iPads. Who hasn't had a device check-in in 2 days? And is it because they're on vacation or their device, went again missing and I don't know? And then these are some of the smart groups that we've also built out too. So I'm just scrolling through, giving you options and kind of giving you an idea of what's here. And we can see the number of devices that fall to that group. So I picked one that needs an iOS update. I saw that, 22 devices need an update. So I looked here at the iOS version. This is some of the criteria that's on there. And this allows me to then take action. I can actually send an update out or, work with these people and proactively go to them with a ticket to get things going. But at the end of the day, I have more information than I did before. Let's look at an example here. I want to do like a start to finish example for you. I want to go with the encrypted devices. So let's look at devices that perhaps got encrypted and file vault enabled, but I don't have the key. So I'm pulling this group here. This is the report, the criteria, who has file vault 2 status is enabled, but then I don't have the key. So that's how you would make this smart group. And I need to take action on this now. So that's something where I want to make sure I have that available and I go through and can take action on that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to policies and I'm going to take some action on this. And again, that's automating tasks. So I saw quite a few people, we've got file vault encryption enabled, but I don't have the key, and I'm going to reissue the key. And Jamf Pro policies, that's giving me root level admin access so I can take action, and I can put it in self-service. I can have it prompt the user, but essentially this is where I'm going to start taking action. So the smart group gave me the information I needed, and now I'm going to take action and reissue the key so we have that taken care of on our end. And again, I can prompt the users or send it to self-service. So we make it so easy for the admins to take action. But let's go further. You might need more information on what we have, and that's where really extension attributes play a role. Extension attributes allow you to collect inventory information and attribute values that are perhaps populated by using an input type. We're looking at some of these input types here: antivirus, backup, networking, user information, software updates. You can take it a step further with custom fields or, again, extension attributes. And these are some examples. So you can report on things like, I want to know the Macs that have not backed up with Druva in over 4 days and allow myself to see which devices are not backing up. I assumed they were because we had set that, but again, this allows me to be proactive as the admin and identify a potential problem. I can essentially reach out to the user and say, hey, your Mac hasn't backed up in 4 days. Are you on vacation? If not, let's see if something got disconnected. And again, I have everything set to back up, but for whatever reason, something got disturbed and I wasn't aware of that. Jamf Pro can really, with our unique reporting, can allow you to be proactive in a lot of different areas and have that really be in effect. Let's see some examples and talk a little bit further and show you about extension attributes. Here we are again, this is Jamf Pro interface. We're under computer management, and these are a lot of templates. So we have a lot of these templates ready to go for you to use. So that way, again, we try to make it as easy as possible. In this example, we've got a battery percentage extension attribute. This will be helpful so I can see the remaining charge of the battery if installed. Super helpful for perhaps health of the device, or if the device went missing and I wanted to see the battery percentage. There's just a lot of good reasons to have certain things like that. And you saw that full list of extension attributes, and we go to the device and we see, and we can then identify the battery capacity. So it's at 85%. So looking good. So that's an example of an extension attribute. But you may need not only hardware information, you might want to look at some patch management reporting, and we can certainly help with that too. So patch management at Jamf really focuses on these main areas: third-party software, software titles, automatic scoping on eligible devices, and automate the monitoring and deployment. Well, let's give you an example here and show you. We automatically have patch management set as like a template for a lot of titles. We can see, who's got these titles already deployed. Do we have any updates available? We try to automate as much as we can. So I'm going to choose the Slack one for patch management. And I can add Slack to their patch library and immediately gain insight to the computers that not only have Slack installed, but what version of Slack is on those computers. This allows the admin to make really quick and informed decisions on how to patch the application like Slack. Once the latest version of Slack is available in their distribution point, the admin can create a patch policy to either automate or install the update and make it available in self-service for the end user to install. But with patch management Jamf Pro, really it's so you don't have to worry about if apps are out of date, and you can take action on that if needed. Pretty great way to have that report. And then I will add it to our main dashboard, and this is customizable too. So this, you can have what's important to you readily available at your dashboard, and something that you might want to have looked at on the regular. So I added Slack, so we see Slack and the management status there, and that's something I'll keep tabs on. Let's see how this fits into the bigger landscape with enterprise. Beyond hardware and software applications, perhaps there's something that you need beyond that too, and you need more custom information. And that's really where we're going to rely on API to maximize your data and what you can do. We're seeing just so much flexibility, and if it sounds like there's a lot you can do, it's truly because there's so much. So the API, we are going to leverage that to export custom data to make reporting even easier and really more direct for your organization. And it can be used to collect specific pieces of data and export that to another system. There's no one-size-fits-all tool. So with Jamf Pro, it's going to collect that vital information. And then, of course, with the API, you can export that data to another reporting tool if needed. Or perhaps you've got another software that you rely on as well. So the primary reason for the API is really for faster innovation and customization. You can generate reports with so many of your favorite tools, or have our tools talk. And this is where I'm going to call out our Microsoft integration. We have a strong partnership with Microsoft, but we recognize in the enterprise space, many of you have Microsoft as backbone for your organization. So if you're looking to integrate reporting, like with Power BI, we have a direct integration there, so you can use the best of both. So you can have Jamf and our smart groups and all that I've talked about today for your Apple devices. But if you needed to have it where you have an integration with Power BI as well, we have that available. So Jamf Pro can feed Power BI details about the device applications as well. So that's one example, and there's so much more on the Jamf Marketplace, marketplace.jamf.com. We like to think of it as the app store for Apple admins, and we have so many APIs already built out. And rather than just tell you, I wanted to show you. So here is the main page for the Jamf Marketplace. And you might find we already have something readily built out for reporting. So all I did was just do a search, and I'm just scrolling through, and here's so many of the integrations for an API that we have available for you to leverage. So we saw Domo, Splunk, Microsoft Defender, Power BI, as I just mentioned, Robot Cloud Dashboard. There's so many different tools out there, and we already have this pre-built for you to start using. Let's chat about the path to success and bring this all together. So if we were to sum up today, enroll the devices, get started with Jamf. You can then start to organize and build reports. You can integrate with other solutions, and then you start to leverage that data and then take action on that data. And that's going to be really key to allow you to be proactive and problem solve ahead of time. So let's chat about some next steps. If you have any questions, maybe there's something we didn't talk about today, there are so many different options with our reporting and what's possible. If you want to see if you want to have a personalized walkthrough to go further on what we saw today, chat about integrations, want to know if certain smart groups you are dreaming up are possible, please reach out to our team to schedule a call, a demo, or a trial. At this time, I really want to thank you for joining us. I hope you learned something new, and we will catch you at the next session. Please let us know how we can help you, and now we will make some time for Q&A. Thank you.